Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining the very last edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. Today, we have put a couple of people together, and hopefully everybody that will be joining, we want to rub minds together, crowdsource ideas, initiatives, suggestions along the entire HR value chain. Also, at some point, or as the meeting progresses, please feel free to drop ideas, initiatives in the chat box, or when appropriate, you can also raise your hands. The admins will grant you permission so that you can share insight. Thank you so much. Also, do me one more favor before I hand over to Bola Joko, Showe Mimo, and Deborah Dumbury. Please reach out to one or two people so that they can also join us on this call. Also, Deborah and Bola Joko, please note your co-admin. You can admit people. Thank you so much. I would like to hand over at this juncture to Bola Joko, Showe Mimo, and Deborah Dumbury. Good evening, my ladies, and welcome. We need to.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. It's such a privilege and honor to be doing this. So I have with me Deborah, known as Debbie.
Good evening. Also with me. Good evening, Bola Joko. Good evening,
good evening, Debbie. We have other couple of people that would join us. I think they're trying to join the call. Okay, so we'll just, so like Mr. Yemi said, this is all about sharing ideas, initiatives, and programs that that would make 2023 quite interesting for us. And so not in any particular order. This is more going to be like a freestyle. So we're just going to be sharing ideas with each other and expatiate on some of the things we know before, and importantly, we are projecting in towards 2023. As we all know that the workplace is becoming more dynamic, more interesting. So for me, I always tell people that it's becoming more interesting because what you know few months ago, you realize that it's becoming, in fact, not just few months ago, what you know yesterday might not really work today anymore. So it means that we need to keep evolving and keep changing. So I would just share. So we did prepare a slide for us, and don't mind us. We'll just, aside from the slides, of course, ideas would also share from our experiences, wealth of knowledge, research, from articles we've read and all that. So I'm just going to share my slides. Okay. Please, can we all see my slides?
Yes, but it's not full screen.
Okay, just okay. So, like we said, it's crowdsourcing HR ideas, initiatives, and programs to thrive in 2023. So I'll start with the introduction. Okay, so my introduction is saying that HR window of opportunity to reposition the function, value, proposition in the reality of the workplace today. And that's nothing but the truth. The reality of the workplace today requires that we reposition ourselves, reposition the function, the value proposition that we are always bringing to the table. So HR is expected to play a significant role in guiding organization through the storm of the pandemic and subsequent inflation surges and economic slowdown. So that is very true for us in this, well, in the global village, and especially in this part of the world. We can bear ourselves witness that when we started 2022, the price of Dirika for rice is not what we are buying it anymore today. I bought a pint of beans on, I think, Friday, and I was just asking myself, like, God really help us, which way to go? So we can't hide away from this, because the people we manage at the workplace, they are affected by all this. And trust me, it has a way of affecting productivities. It have a way of affecting people's motivation. People are beginning to ask themselves, my job, is it really worth it? Is it not better for me to go to start my own gig or have another side gig, which we all know that sometimes, if not well managed, it also affects the productivity in the workplace. So in other words, HR can make a tremendous impact on organization if adequately enabled. So I have a quote here. A good idea for a new business trend not to occur in isolation. And often the window opportunity is very small. So speed is of the essence. And why is speed of the essence? It means that as HR, we need to be in the know of what is going on in the economy and how it will affect us. So for example, the new CBN is it information about the new Naira and the fact that you only have 200 Naira in circulation and you can only withdraw 100,000 in a week. Trust me, so for some people might say that, okay, I'm not affected. My business, my sector is not affected. The finance or the fintech sector will be more affected by. No, that's actually not true. We're all affected in one way or the other. So the question is, that announcement has been made. What are we doing with it? What do we want to do with it? Do we want to be crying over spilled milk? I don't think so. I think an agile HR would ask myself, so here we are, what can we do? Good. So some of the trend areas that I mentioned there, these trends are not exhaustive. They are not limited to these few ones. These are the few ones we could come up with, but there are so many others. And like I said earlier, we're all here to share ideas. We are all here to share initiative with ourselves. Okay, so we're focusing on a focus on total well-being. Total well-being in the sense that it's not just work alone. People's personal life, people's financial life, people's health life is needs to be considered, or else you can't have a total well-being. A total well-being is someone who is mentally, as in, well, who is balanced in all areas of life. Upskilling and reskilling leaders and managers. Make sure your policies are well communicated throughout the company. So this is one area that I think most of us might be guilty of that. Once I'm not sure anybody reads their handbook every month. I'm not sure. Once we've been onboarded and we are handed the handbook, once we read it, it's always like it stays on the desk and gathers dust. But we can't, in 2023, we cannot allow that. We have to create initiatives around this. Keep up with the evolving legal standards. This is very, very dear to us because most HR in Nigeria would want to avoid litigation. You don't want to go to the industrial court. So if you don't want that, it means that we need to know what is going on and we need to know how it affects our business, where we need to make changes in our policies to suit all that. And of course, the impact of technology on HR. We can't overemphasize that technology is the order of the day. Everything we do now, there is a touch of technology. It drives everything we do. Encourage employee feedback and participation. Of course, if you don't have participation, then you have disengaged employee, which is what we've been talking about, the quiet quitting. So if you don't want people to quietly quit on you, then there has to be a lot of conversation around feedback and participation. And not the least here, employees, educate employees about their rights and responsibilities. So in my course of work, I've realized that most employees, they don't know their rights and responsibilities. They are asking for something and you realize that no, Oga, you actually deserve more than what you're asking for. And that's because they don't know. So you want to have an engaged, a happy workforce in 2023, then you also have to let them know what they deserve. So I'll just go into the discussion. So I said, overcome your burnout crisis. Most HR, what we do is we focus on other people. We focus on the employees. We focus on the management. We cater for their needs. We put their needs ahead of us. Beautiful and absolutely necessary. However, in 2023, you do not want to leave yourself behind. So as HR, and when I mean HR, as HR team in an organization, you want to be deliberate in making sure that the HR team are well catered for. The HR team are not left behind when you're making plans for the well-being of the organization, when you're making plans for the well-being of the other units. What is the plan you're making for your HR team? It is very, very important. If you do not take care of your burnout, you would not be able to deliver. You will not be able to help the organization. So I said, have a proactive approach to this. Have a proactive approach to well-being and resilience. Develop a more holistic employee well-being approach, focusing on mental, physical, and financial. Most time, we've focused so much on the mental and a bit on the physical, but the financial parts, we don't. So you see people at the before the 15th of the month, they are broke. Why? It's not sometimes it's not necessarily that the money is not enough. It's probably lack of financial education on how to plan, on how to manage. So if we can put this into consideration, I strongly believe that it will make a whole lot of difference in 2023. Upskilling and reskilling leaders and managers. Okay, so it's been proven many times that people leave organization not because of the organization itself, but because of the manager. So that means there is a crack in the relationship between the managers and the employee. And the truth of the matter is, what people don't have, they cannot give. So HR needs to help the organization communicate what they expect from their managers. Is there a way you want the managers to manage? Is there a way you want them to lead? So you should be able to help the organization to do that. So HR will be the middleman. This is what we're expecting from you. So, and we create initiatives around that. We create programs around that. So if our leaders are not well equipped, it means that we need to develop them. We need to bring them up to capacity building where they would be able to deliver. Because if they can't lead the people well, all the efforts of HR, all the initiatives, all the program, or whatever it is you want to invent will be wasted. It will be a wasted time because the people that will help you to drive these initiatives, they are not trained, they are not equipped for it. So one thing you want to do is there is a need for upskilling, there is a need for reskilling. So create initiatives, create programs around that. And this does not have to be an expensive or high cost activities. No, it could be a Tuesday activities in the office where, okay, we share what we know. So when we know someone is lacking in this area, we have someone who has strengths in that area. We can do an exchange, or we can do like a book review, or we could do like a knowledge sharing section, just like what we're doing today. We could have that in our team, which will, of course, it's the return is very, very enormous, because when you invest in the leadership of the organization, trust me, everybody will be happy. we get better at what we do, we get better at our relationship management, which eventually affects the bottom line of the organization. Okay, so this is just a picture talking about how we can prioritize upskilling and reskilling. So as we can see here, challenges: upskilling reduces turnover as Generation X and millennial employees are more likely to leave due to lack of progress. So when we don't upskill our people, we experience a lot of turnover. So I would use myself as a personal example. Earlier this year, I had a bit of friction with my team. I realized that there was no alignment, and there was we're always having arguments. And at the end of the day, I realized that these arguments were not making any sense at all. So I had to enroll myself in a leadership program. Like, okay, I think what I know about leadership has become obsolete. I need to bring myself up to speed. And as the program was going on, everything I was learning there, I was practicalizing it. And I realized that it was just because I wasn't the kind of leader that would lead them. So I had to evolve. I had to change my leadership style. I had to, so one of the things I learned was I deliberately asked them for feedback. That, okay, so where am I? Which area am I not doing well? And the feedback they were giving me, initially it was difficult for me to accept. But I realized that if I'm going to up my game, then I have to accept it, because this is what they see about me, and I needed to change it. And so I had a conference call with myself, and had to make some adjustment. So it is necessary for us as individual, and even for our teams, we need to upskill and we need to reskill. We can't run away from it. Okay, so make sure your policies are well communicated throughout the organization. Most employees are not well aware of our policies. They read them, but they don't understand them. So which makes it easy for them to flout policies. They go against the policies, not because they are rebellious, not necessarily, but it's because at times when you ask them, okay, tell me what you understand by this, you realize that it's far-fetched from what the policy is actually saying. So we want a happy workforce, and for you as an HR to be able to deliver effectively, and we have to go the extra mile to communicate these policies with them. Okay, so at this point, I will hand over to Debbie, so she would continue from here, and of course, I'll still come back.
Thank you very much, Bola Ajuko. Thank you for this opportunity. So I would like to say one or two things before I continue with the slides. So, Bola mentioned on finance about well-being not only being on finance, not only being on your health, but financially. And before 6th of the next month, some people would say, I'm broke. Yes, so let us note something quickly. In the year 2023, attrition would not reduce. So that is for sure. So because we are aware of this, what else can we do? When she mentioned that, something came into my mind on one seminar I attended. So it's done on us at that seminar that HR need to put in place policies that will assist their people to have funds, to have more cash apart from their salaries. So this is where many people are lacking. So at that seminar again, somebody mentioned, one of the top class HR guys mentioned that some organizations did not mention them, but they give, for example, a day for their people to go out and have side gigs. That space is there for them to have side gigs. Now, if you give me a day out of 5 days to say have side gigs, and you call me for one 500,000 naira job, because if I have wisdom, as an employee, I'll be able to get more money for myself and I won't be broke, right? So even if you're offering me something else, I would not leave the organization because of the flexi job. I would not want to leave. So that is one thing. Then again, somebody mentioned there again, and I learned from it, that why not put in place policies that would also assist your people to do business? Now, I joined an organization sometimes this year, and they made me to sign something that I am not allowed to do any business. So it is not about not allowing me to do business. I understand HR, what are we doing to make sure there are policies in place that will not encroach our business with the company's business? Because our business we could do. For example, there are businesses like this rice, December rice oil. So why do we give it to vendors outside? Can't we have someone in to do bid for the same business and to get it? And at the end of it, they will gain something from it. So these are ways that we can help ourselves, help our business to grow as HR personnel in 2023. So we should not rely on the fact that we don't want to. So it's for me, I think it's more of the HR people now being lazy to put in place these policies. Because if there are policies to say this, you could do business, but make sure it's not affecting, put up those policies, not going to affect your own personal work time, maybe 40 hours and all that. But you could do your business, your side hustles, but if it will affect it, then there will be a problem. There would be this and this and this. Bring up those policies. Like she said, communicate these policies, whichever way, but let it be clear. Don't use ambiguous words and make it unclear. Attrition can never stop. It will not end anytime soon. Okay, so I'm just digressing a bit. So coming up to the slide now, the next thing here is to keep up with evolving legal standards. And again, she mentioned something about people not wanting to be part of legal issues here and there. So if you do not want to be part of legal issues, you need to be on top of your games. You need to be on top of your games. I worked with a company again this year again, and the CEO and the owner said, Debbie, please come. Because my director was on leave. She was to give birth and said, Debbie, come. I want to sack someone right now. What do you expect? What do you want me to do? Let me just sack the person. The person should just go. I can pay. I can do this. I said, calm down. You can't just call the person and say you want to sack somebody. If the person takes you up, on what ground? Have you calculated the risk involved? Have you said what ground are you going to sack this person? So as an HR person, it's your duty to advise, to give legal advice as well. So you need to be broad in your HR knowledge. So you cannot, in 2023, you cannot joke with things like legal because people are up on their games. They will just stand up and stand against you and against the business, and they will win. There is this notion that says that businesses, the law is always at the side of the masses. So the masses, you know, they will definitely say, you are trying to cheat this person because it's from a poor background, because you are a big business, a multinational, they would win and they would get money out of you. So how do you up your game? How do you communicate? How do you evolve with the legal systems, the standards? It is important and key. So you might think that you know these things, but again, are you up to date? Because she talked about something that I've learned from. She had to go and learn more managerial skills. So she might say, I've learned it now. Do you know my work? Do you know how many years I've been managing? I've managed people for 10 years. It's not working again. What you learned 10 years ago is no longer working. You need to upskill. You need to evolve. You need to follow the trends. So these are the things we are looking at today. So the second point here says, it is important to stay ahead of the curve by regularly reviewing the company's HR policies and practicing to ensure they remain compliance with all applicable laws. So you need to review these policies time to time. So it's not something one way, one size fits all. So I've done it since God knows when. I was reviewing a payslip from one company just this week, and the payslip, the guy has been working there since 2007, and everything remains constant. No change, the miscellaneous, everything just, I was like, really, 2007, till date. So nothing has changed in this company. Even the salary, I was like, so because the offer, I was looking at the offer and the payslip, sent payslip, and I was measuring it. I was like, this company, they are not doing well. See that they don't have HR or what? So HR people, you need to be on your game. Not HR people, you need to understand where your rights lies, where you are. I'll give it back to my colleague, Bolajipo.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you very much. That was quite instructive for us. So I want to talk about technology. This is a very, very interesting trend for us. And it's only we're going to experience more positive disruption in 2023 because one, there is the awareness that we need to move away from administrative HR to more strategic HR because trust me, everything administrative HR, technology will take care of it for you. It will take care of it. So what that means that you need to know the trends in HR technology. So what can you do with technology? A whole lot. I mean, a whole lot. These have been dealt with in many ways. I remember the last webinar where we had Mr. Victor at the Mr. Victor when he was talking about you could use data to make decisions, strategic decisions, as in data will help you to see possible challenges you will most likely have in the next 1 or 2 years. That's amazing. It would predictive data, it will help you because it will show you that this is where you're going, this is where you are, this is where you're going, and this is the roadblock, the challenges you will face, and it prepares you ahead of time. And that's one of the most interesting things. It prepares you ahead of time. So also in relation to our communication within HR personnel and managers, even within the organization, technology is quite interesting. So there was a time I had this discussion that so someone sent an official communication through WhatsApp, and so I think the argument was, will it be tenable or not? My dear HR, well, actually it could be tenable. It depends on the context at which it happened. So my driver is an outsourced driver in my current organization, and he was actually employed through WhatsApp. I mean, all the communication was done through WhatsApp. And so when he wanted to resign, he too also sent the resignation letter through WhatsApp. And so the thing is, there was no acknowledgement. There was no acknowledgement from the part of the organization. So as that might sound so funny, it tells us that we need to define what our communication policy would look like, what our communication avenues, channels would look like. Trust me, WhatsApp, because you can print the document, the words you say on WhatsApp, you can print them. And once you print them in black and white, it becomes a document. And God forbid, if you have a legal situation, it could be tenable. So we don't want to be in a position where we are not sure whether we are sure. Like Debbie said earlier, there should be no ambiguity. This is how we want to do it. This is our communication channels. This is our communication avenue. Let it be written. Let it be stated, so people know that, okay, if I want to take a sick leave, I don't just send WhatsApp. If they don't know, they will tell you that, but I sent you a WhatsApp message and you read it. So hello, what are we saying? So these are things we need to face head on. So do we want to accept what? So I'm just using WhatsApp as an example because that's the experience I've had. There could be other ones. So do we want to take it as a way of communication? Well, if people are being recruited on Instagram, then I'm thinking that mostly our communication channels are opening up more and more and more every day. So we want to look into that. And another thing is, as an HR, I think every HR should have an idea of what of social media management, because it helps in many, many ways. So I just said recruitment is being done on social media. Initially, we started with LinkedIn. Now we've heard of Twitter, we've heard of Instagram, we've heard of a whole lot of all the social media channels that so many things are being done there. So we can't shy away from it. So as an organization, as a team, and as HR manager, leader, supervisor, whatever capacity, whatever level you are, I think these are the things we need to start to embrace and begin to ask ourselves questions around these areas, and begin to develop initiative, begin to develop things that we can work around. So for example, as a team, so some of our organization, we do celebrate some particular international days, whatever they may be. Do we want to play around social media? Because see, these things, they add up to your employer's brand. And that's the truth. They add up to your employer's brand. And somehow they also add up to your employee value proposition. Because we have people right now who want to express themselves. So I might be good in Canvas. I might be good to be able to do designs and all that. And you want to use me so that you keep me in the organization. I'm happy doing what I love to do, and I'm also delivering for the organization. So, and these are all technological based. They are technology driven. So we can't hide away from those ones. So this is a typical digital dashboard, and this is what it can do for. See how connected we are. Of course, COVID has taught us people can work in any part of the world, which also brings us to flexi work hours, remote work hours. We cannot say, don't. We have to be present. Imagine the fuel situation we just had some few weeks back. So thank God it's getting better. People find it difficult. So it wasn't about whether you had a car or you were not mobile. Even people that were mobile, did they have access to the fuel? They had the money, but no fuel. So, and as HR, would you say that people should, you have to be at work? Yes, they would come at work, but trust me, they will be disgruntled. And what that means is it's pointing towards attrition, which is why Debbie said attrition is not going to end, because so we're around the corner for another shock, because schools are going to resume in January again. So we have to brace up. And what the amazing thing is, all this is just telling us something, that if we as HR, if we are strategic in the way we do our things, if we are future minded, future oriented, we would be able to see some of these challenges before they hit our doorstep. And that's the truth. Most of us were affected by the July, August great resignation and all that. The question is, what if another episode happened? Are we ready for it? Did we learn anything from that happened? Because seasons happen. Life is all about seasons, and they're in circles. So what you experience now should prepare you for the next season. And that's why we cannot afford to be crying over spilled milk. We are in a position where we can make changes. We just need to step out of the box, be creative in our approaches, come up with initiative, engage your workforce. What do they want? What would make them want to stay? And another thing we do, we can't afford to do copy and paste. Each organization have their own context. In your context, what is the issue? How do you solve it? I might like my gari with sugar. Someone else like their gari alone, or their gari with granite. It's context. And item we need to start having conversation with our teams to be able to get to the root problem, which will now help us to have creative ideas to come up with. I also want to talk about encourage employee feedback and participation. I mentioned a little bit about my personal experience. I noticed I wasn't delivering well, so I had to ask for feedback. Yes, did I feel uncomfortable? I did feel uncomfortable, but I had to force myself to listen, and the feedback was good for me, and I worked on it, and I have a better a better team. We understand ourselves better. Feedback is not necessarily negative. I don't think it's actually negative in any way. It's a way of saying these are areas where we need to improve. Employees should be allowed to say that, sir, management, I think we are not doing well in this area. So we should create initiatives around this. So yes, I had an HR thought leader say that there was a time she had to create, she created a suggestion box in the convenience, I mean the restroom. And why did she do that? She did that because she noticed that people were reluctant to give feedback. People were not open. People were not being honest. And she wanted a honest opinion because she was getting feelers that people were not happy, people were disgruntled. So she thought about it, that how do I get people to say these things that is on their mind without necessarily compromising who said it and all that. And that thought just came up. So they designed the box, and it was in the men and the women's restroom. And after a week, they collected all the results. Wow, it was an amazing feedback they got from that feedbacks. It was quite amazing. And she made sure that everything that they complained about, that they mentioned. So it was not everything was addressed, because some required that, okay, duration of time and all that. But at least for the one that they could do immediately, they did it. And from the feelers again, she realized that people were actually happy about it. So they felt like, okay, yes, I have a voice. If I say something, the organization would listen to me. So we need to be creative. You and I know that when you put those suggestion box in the reception, when I drop my feedback, you will see the person now. So, and trust me, there are times I don't want someone to see me that I'm the one that did this or accept this. So can we think of place blind spots where we can put these boxes and we get the feedback? Or if our employee survey questionnaires can be designed in such a way that people are allowed to truly express themselves. Beautiful. These feedbacks are quite important, because these are where we need to be. We would be able to make decisions for the organization. So of course, it will help us to improve our policy compliances, because if my policies is not going well with the organization, remember, the policy is for the people and the people is for the policy. So it's not in isolation. It has to go hand in hand. And also, this also helps us to improve areas where we are not doing so well. So maybe we don't have a culture of respect. We just talk to people, we just talk to ourselves anyhow. And some employees are not finding it that funny. See, when people say toxic work environment, truth of the matter is, who are the people in the organization? It is we. So either way, we are all contributing to it in one way or the other, especially if we are not reporting it. We are all, if you keep quiet, you're part of the team. That's the truth. So we we need to make this a habit We need to make it a habit. And if necessary, HR team must be trained and prepared to support all these things. Trust me, at times we think we know it. We don't know it all. And that's the truth. We don't know it all. I was in a training yesterday and I realized that there are a whole lot of things that I think I do know. And the truth of the matter is I don't know it all. So, and feedback helps us to see those other parts that we don't know. So I don't know if Madam Ajoke is in the house or Kunle, because they're supposed to be part of this. But if not, I think it's just me and Debbie. So Debbie, I'll leave
I'm
the
in the
other.
house, so
Okay, you good to have you. Okay, so while Kunle warms up, Debbie, I think you should take this on. Then Kunle can take the next one.
All right, so I would like to digress a bit. You talked about technology, so I just want to mention something. I had one experience where I had to do interview on WhatsApp. A corporate interview, of course, yes. And that was because we kept calling these candidates on Zoom. The network was in, and I don't know. I've had other candidates and we must have this interview. I've been pushing it and I need to close this role. I had to, like I told my madam, I said, I want to have this thing on WhatsApp. I said, how is it? How is that? She wasn't comfortable. I said, I'll save this guy's number. I'll call you, link us up together with, and it was successful. And trust me, at the end of the day, I'll tell you this candidate was the fit for the role. So let's assume because of the network, I don't want to use WhatsApp. I'm this archaic woman of 19, God knows when, and I'm saying no, WhatsApp is not corporate enough. We would lose the candidates or say, okay, let's just leave the candidate and go ahead with the other ones. It's not our fault that his network was bad. So so technology has gone way beyond. So in 2023, expect more of this. Now, she talked about feedback. On the feedback issue, the same thing happened to me when she was talking about the box. I was laughing because in my company currently, we have these two boxes close to the dispenser and there are cameras there. And one guy walked up to me and said, HR, you think I would put anything on this box, on this suggestion box, Abi? I said, what do you mean? So you can camera me and you see that it's me. You can go back to the CCTV and say that it's me that's put this. I said, you are going extreme. How would I even go back to the camera to say who put this? It can't work that way now. At least many people. After we finished that conversation, I went to my director again. I said, I need to take out these boxes to a blind spot. Then I went to hide it close to the kitchen. I said, oh yeah, come and see where it is now. So nobody's going to see you. No camera is covering this area. And that was why I was laughing when she mentioned, So we do well to understand that employees are readily available for us. So we need to make changes. We need to accommodate them come 2023. And that would help us to reduce our attritions, really. Apart from the fact that people are traveling out, many people are leaving their companies to the next company. And so if you accommodate your people, you treat them well, there is no how they would stay. They would stay. So that I would say something else later, but let me go to the slides. So educate employees about their rights and responsibilities. Education is key. If they do not understand, they would fail to do the right thing. And I used to say this, I don't know if it is right or wrong, but I used to say that where there are no laws, there is no sin. So if you do not educate me, maybe this is how it should be, this is how it should be, and I do something else, you cannot penalize me. I have not done anything wrong because I would be telling you that I was acting in ignorance, that I do not understand the policies, I do not understand the things you expected of me. So communicate and educate them on the right behaviors, on your cultures, and even on the culture part, when people are joining in, you do well to check as an HR person, is this person culture fit? From the words to the dressing to, so I had interviews again with someone in my former company and the person is at Abuja, we're having this Zoom meeting and the person came with a shimmy, singlets for an interview. So thank God I joined in first and the guy, the finance guy is for a finance role, finance officer. and the finance guy has not joined. So I was like, so what was this person's intention, a lady with a shimmy singlet to an interview, official? I was like, I said, excuse me, please, can you go and get something better? This is not fitting for this meeting. And she stood up, and so is it to seduce so you need to check from that. So from that point, I knew that this person is not out of it. You cannot be a finance officer. I'm not bringing you in for a beauty pageant and finance officer, and you are dressing like this to an interview. So that is off for me, for example. And I don't know, it might be different for other people. But again, this person was not culture fit. It's not going to fit into the culture that we have built. So ensure that guidelines are followed, they are communicated, they are taught. And this will help everyone to follow these guidelines and to behave appropriately the way you want them to. So you cannot not teach people or educate people and expect them to be in their right behavior. Again, thank you, Bolajipo. You are muted. Bola, you are muted.
Okay, so thank you, Debbie. I said, just to buttress some of the things Debbie said, Rotimi dropped in the chat box that I have used a teleconference for interview too, as candidate was not accessible via Microsoft Teams, and we got the right fit. We should be open to technology. So for me, the highlighter is that these people are the right fit. So it means that it's possible in time past we've lost the right fit candidates due to stereotype way of doing interviews. So it means that it's time for us to be more creative. See, we know that the right fits are difficult to find. They are limited in numbers. So many a times we bring people into the organization and we now begin to train them, bring them up to speed. I'm not against that. Very good, very interesting, and on the long run, very profitable for the organization. But you know, there's some particular roles that you just want somebody to hit the ground running. So those people are the people you would want to go any mile. You want to be creative in the way you recruit them, in the way our recruitment processes should take place and all that. So thank you once again, Debbie. Kunle, you have the floor.
Okay, good evening. Thank you very much. Yeah, so before I go into the next slide, I just want to say something as regards the use of technology, because we can't run away from it really in HR space. And going into 2023 is going to really be a whole lot. As an effective use of communication, let's be factual, let's say the way it is. LinkedIn is also a social media platform. Let's forget that we use it as a means of career advancement. Is a social media platform. Now, legally, whatever platform you choose or whatever platform over time, let's say for the past 3 months to 1 year, that's within the organization, it doesn't have to have a policy written out. But if within the organization, official communication has always been passed and acted on. Let's say, for instance, now your manager always sends you instructions on WhatsApp. Once any matter happens and is taken to a court of law, that WhatsApp platform becomes a legal communication, and anything that went on there can be used to hold you accountable for any action. So what I know within my company is I always, especially people that want to go on leave, I always tell them, fine, you've told me on WhatsApp or you've told your manager on WhatsApp, I'm not arguing, but the final approval, whatever the manager say, whatever I say on WhatsApp does not matter. The final approval lies on Bamboo HR. So you have to go and log in your leave days. And if it's not approved before you go on it, I'm not treating it as a leave day. So that way, over time, we've been able to create a sense of WhatsApp is only a notification for us. The approved communication is either email or on Bamboo HR. So I just wanted to put that in before we now go to the next slide. Sorry, please, next slide. So we're going to be talking about other ideas that we can use for 2023. So one thing, the first one here says, create an exceptional onboarding process. Now I want to say this, many of us don't know it, but your onboarding process actually starts from the point of calling the candidate for an interview. That's where your onboarding process starts. It's not when you give the offer and the candidate accepts it and comes to your office. If you're waiting until that time to make a good impression, you're wrong. Your good impression starts from the minute you pick up your phone and you call the employee, the candidate, and say, oh, I got your CV for this role and I'd like to invite you for an interview, which now goes down to the archaic practice. And I hope that many of us that are on this platform don't do it anymore, where we invite someone for 4 p.m., for 3 a.m. and 3 p.m., sorry, and then we don't attend to the person until 3:30 or 4 p.m. And we are just going around saying sorry or sorry. No, don't tell me sorry, please. You called me for this time, don't tell me sorry. So and creating an exceptional onboarding process also goes down to the fact that the day the person resumes in your office, what are the tools that you have made available for that person? Is the laptop ready? Is the staff ID card ready? The notepad you want to give the person? All of these things, are they ready? Does the person even have a workstation? Is that bad in some organizations? We've heard in the past where you don't get a workstation until like 2 weeks, or let's say even 3 days after joining. And then also, you already know your onboarding process has to do with the candidate meeting other managers. You had a resumption date. Why are you just talking to the managers the day before? That's wrong. Very, very wrong. From the moment you sent out the offer, like it or not, if the candidate has accepted or not, you are meant to have engaged those managers to let them know that, oh, we have somebody coming in. He has not accepted, but this is the proposed start date. Would you be available on this day to talk with him about this and that? So all of that. And once you do that, you're able to plan it very well. I've had a situation where I had to spread out that onboarding part of a new employee for 2 weeks. I had to spread out, but I was able to tell the candidate as the new employee on the first day that, see, this is meant to happen in 2 days, but because of this going on in the company, we have to spread it out. You're going to talk to this person on this day, you talk to this person on that day, and then you start working, but you have to come back to the office on this day to talk with this person. Just giving the person a feel of, I value your time in the company. So that's one of the ways we can always create an exceptional onboarding process. Now, having mentorship programs, it's as basic as you noticing an employee that likes to be around another employee, maybe a manager or even a co-employee. It's as basic as that. I have an employee currently in my place of work who loves being around the country manager. And I walked up to the country manager and he always like gives her tasks to do and everything. And I walked up to him and I said, why not have her become your chief of staff since you already give her tasks to do outside of what she does for the company? And he considered it, and I understood the constraints. So that is one way to have mentorship programs. You don't need to wait until when there's an official program already. You can even use the unofficial ones to create a template for management, showing them that you already have results in the past for these mentorship programs. And you feel that if you make it an official part of our process, is going to go a long way to having people stay back, because people are always happy when there's career growth. Apart from the additional top-ups on the salary, people are always happy when they know that I can move from this position to that position. I can even jump an entire department to another place because my skills have been noticed and I can always flourish. And then we have provide employees with the tools they need, which is one of the things I mentioned already when I talked about creating an exceptional onboarding process. You cannot know that an employee needs a phone and 2 days down the line, the phone is not ready. Have 2, 3, 4 vendors that provide you phones. There's no big deal inside. My vendors know if I call you today that I need something, give me a time. If it doesn't work for me, I tell you immediately that, sorry, this is not going to work for me. I want it by this date. Oh, I'll not be able to deliver. Okay, no problem. I'm calling the next vendor immediately because there cannot be any lapse at all. And then we have employee recognition. You have to recognize an employee. It's not only when the employee does bad that you sing the atrocity around the office, or you call the employee to your office to have a talk with him. If the employee does something that is worth them noticing, you can do it in the Monday morning meeting. Your normal Monday morning. I don't know if all companies do that, but my company, we have a Monday morning meeting where everybody in the company is a part of. You can just recognize the person. You can just be like, oh, this employee was able to do this in the past week. We just want to appreciate him. it goes a long way in the minds of the employee and also others listening. They understand that whatever I do, no matter how little, it will be noticed. It may not be at that scale, it can even be at departmental level, but recognize them. You can put that into it. I even sometimes do it for my office assistants when I give him like series of tasks and he's able to deliver on time. I will tell my manager, I'll be like, I give something to do and he finished it on time. I was really surprised. I make sure it's there when I'm saying it. So that when I want to lash him, it's not going to feel too bad. You know that, oh, even when I do well, I'm always being recognized. Celebrate milestones, big or small, which also reiterates what I said about employee recognition. And show your employees appreciation. It cannot be overemphasized. People are going through a lot already. If you drive, if you jump bus in Lagos, if you ride in Lagos, you know that everyone is frustrated already. From the moment some people wake up, they are frustrated, they are thinking. In fact, a lot of people here on this call are already frustrated about tomorrow being a Monday. So now going into the office and being appreciated for something that was being done is going to actually go a long way to give the employee a very good week or a very good day. What it had something, so it cannot be overexercised. Now, this one, yes,
Kule, let me add to the 3 points. Okay, so I was in a training and one of the ways they talked about employee recognition, appreciation, celebrating milestone was that, is it possible for managers to have a handwritten note to celebrate any staff that does well? I mean, your writing, not typed, your handwriting to say, you did this, and this is what it means to the organization. Thank you. Is it possible? And I think it's possible. I think we can do it. And when we do that, it means that there is a lot of thoughts. When someone writes in their own handwriting to you, you and I know how it feels. It feels that that person sat down. The person was in a state of mind and was thinking about that person and was putting it in paper, putting it in words, and it goes a long way. So that's cheap. It doesn't necessarily have to be a plaque or an award. That is straight to the heart. And we want to touch the heart of the employees in our creative ways. So these are ideas we can come up with. So one thing I also learned is, when you're on for such employee, another thing you could do is, when you see them maybe at the canteen, call them by their name and say thank you. So the truth of the matter is, we don't say thank you enough. So we feel that because we paid salaries, and so they are paid for what they are doing. Yes, they are paid for what they are doing. But in the same organization, so you have people who do average, who don't go the extra mile. So people that go the extra mile should be able to say thank you to them. And I thank you from a place of appreciation. Say, I see the effort you put into this, and they're saying thank you. So all this does not, so these are creative ways of not having to spend money, but get the employees appreciated and loved for what they are doing. Trust me, someone like that would always go the extra mile. Like, okay, yes, I'm looking forward to this recognition. I'm looking forward to this. Thank you. It will not cost us anything. So we can always add that to the extra that we are doing as HR. Really, thank you.
So as we were saying that, there's something that came to my mind. There's something called constructive criticism. And it's just a matter of, before you say you've done bad, appreciate. I remember one time I was at redemption camp, and Daddy E. Adeboye was going to talk about the performances of some pastors that were given opportunity to minister on the altar. And one thing I noticed all through was, he first talked about all of the good points, all of the good things they did by ministry, and then he now goes buts. By that time when he goes the buts, you're already feeling so good about yourself that, oh, you've done a lot. At that time when the boss comes in, your mind is not like you just go you just go crestfallen. You don't go crestfallen. What actually happens is, okay, this person actually took time to listen through or look through every single thing I did, saw my strengths, and is ready to work with me on my weaknesses, which is one of the ways we can always like put matters before employees. We don't need to just go out all out on them. So offer competitive compensation. This cannot be overemphasized. For me, I feel it's not nice if you have an employee, no matter what, you may say, okay, he's not performing so well, he's not doing very well. I feel it's not nice if you have an employee on the same salary scale for 1 year. It's not nice. It's a personal thing because it's 1 year. A lot of things that happen. Economy has happened, personal growth has happened, goals have changed. What if the employee is trying to now pursue a certificate that will make him better? After 1 year, I just feel no matter how small it is, no matter how small, it may just be that little that's not going to make the employee become that star that you want him or her to become. You may think it doesn't go that way, but trust me, sometimes it goes that way. And then ask for feedback and act on it. It's feedback, feedback, feedback. It cannot be overemphasized. I can say that I tend to a lot of times ask my manager and even the people that come to me for issues and be like, oh, after when you came to me, how was it? For those that know me on the socials group, you know I love violence a whole lot. And trust me, I show my employees also violence. Like the office is always so nicely violated, so to say. And so they always tell me, Bokuli, sometimes you have praise, but you always do that. You're very, even when you come to me, the violence isn't there at all, or you want to tone it down a bit. And it has made me relate with different people on different levels. There are some people that no matter how they come to meet an issue, will joke about it all through till it's sorted out. So always ask for feedback and act on it. That's the only way to build. And promote a healthy work-life balance. Employees leave days. It's not, sometimes we need to step in and plan it for the employee and the manager. Trust me, if you leave an employee, the employee will work his or herself till the last day of the year, and then you have the following year. Even sometimes during the year, you already have a disgruntled employee. The person is not angry because he's not being paid well or anything. He's angry because he's not resting well. As much as a 1 day leave, I know sometimes when I feel like I'm already gassing out, I'm already losing steam, I just take a day. And that 1 day, by the time I come to the office the next day, I'm always feeling very good. Or sometimes I plan in such a way that I take my leave days around public holidays. I'll just take 1 day after the public holiday because I know I'll do a lot of things on public holiday, which will not make me rest. And then sometimes we just need to step in and plan these leave days with the employees and their managers. And even sometimes you just be like, sorry, have you gone on leave for the past 3 months? No. Okay, take 2 days. I'll talk to your manager about it. Manager, please, this person needs to take 2 days. How do we do it? What work does the person need to show? And all of that. We need to always do that. Give regular feedback on performance. I think for this one, we need as HR to start sinking it into the managers this year that for next year in our organization, we don't need to wait until performance review period for feedback on performance. We don't need to wait for that time. You can give feedback on the previous week's performance, which will now have to likely lead to you sitting down with the managers to create a weekly report for each of the employees working under them, where they fill out so the manager can know what they did that week, how far they've gone, and then they can always give feedback or even step in early enough to assist where need be. So that it's not until when the project has completely crashed that you will now start hearing, oh, I didn't know, not all of that. So I think for 2023, we really need as HR to look into this regular feedback culture in all of our organizations. We don't need to wait until performance review, end of the year review, or mid-year or quarterly review. No, We can always do that every week, if every day may be a chore, every week or every 2 weeks, but we really need to look into this. This will help build a lot of employees, make them know faster and quicker where they need to grow, and build a culture of respect. This cannot be overemphasized. Build a culture of respect, no matter who the person may be. Yes, the work culture and the work environment now in most organizations, people don't, there's no Mr., there's no Mrs., there's no brother, there's no uncle, and all of that. But still, the respect has to be there. There's a way you address someone. I'm still struggling sometimes when I see people send a mail and they use kindly, especially for people that I don't report to. I'm like, you're not my boss. You cannot use kindly for me. You have to use please. But I just after a while, I just had to just leave that subject entirely. But we need to build a culture of respect. Challenge your employees, not challenge them in a way that they end up feeling bad, or they end up feeling, or they end up, how do I put this now? They end up being aggressive towards you. Challenge them in the sense that I know one of the things that made me stay back in HR after my internship was the fact that I saw every single day as a challenge to improve on myself, because my managers at that time, of blessed memory, she was always on my neck that, Kuli, I know you can be more, I know you can do more. She was one that told me that, do you know you can be a certified HR professional? And I was like, okay, how? So there's CIPM, there's PHRI, but just choose which one you want to work on. Let's have a sit down. I will explain all of that to you. So like, it really challenging employees is going to, it doesn't have to be strong in nature. You can just look up certifications in the field of anybody in the company. You can walk up to the person and be like, do you have this certificate? I think it's going to be good for you. It's going to help your career advancement and all of that. So being able to do that is going to help a whole lot.
Sorry,
I
Kule.
think the last two shows show belief.
I'll share. I'm trying to share. Are you seeing my slide? Can you see?
It's not opened yet. It's not opened yet on my side. So I'm just opening it on my own laptop.
Oh, okay. Olajuko stop sharing. So
I'm sorry. Yeah. So the last two, it says, so you have show belief in your employee or employees, which also goes as to also in a way confirms challenging your employees, because when you believe in them, you actually push them to grow more and become more. And then the last one is offer flexible work arrangements, especially when an employee comes to you with an issue. You cannot always take the highway approach. I know, yes, some employees are very, very funny with their requests and the way they table their matters, but we cannot all treat. There's something I told my manager one day. I said, one of the major reasons everybody in this company, and I just look at them differently, is that I have the kind of parent approach to each employee. I tell my manager, everybody, even I and you, we are all children in the company. Fine, we are the HR. But I now see each employee as a child that I cannot treat the same way. For those of us that have children, I don't have children, but at least from experience seeing people do and handling my nephews and my nieces, we know that there are certain children you can shout on and it will fly. They won't cry, they won't feel bad. They'll actually do what you want them to do. And there are certain children that you have to cajole, and there are children that you have to explain why they need to do something to. So that's how I see each employee in my company, that there are some that, okay, I need to talk to, I just need to go and meet them one-on-one, don't need to talk to them in public. There are people that I can just tell in public that, Alpha guy, you need to get this thing done. I don't care, I'm going to do it. And it works like that. So that way we're able to have, we're able to now treat them individually and be able to say, okay, fine, you came to me for a request. I think you're being truthful. I can give you these 2 days to sort it out. But I'll take it out to relief days because policy has to be followed. And if it's for a sickness, the person has to be in a doctor's report once it's past 1 day. That's the law. Once you're not going to be at work for more than 1 day due to illness, you have to be in a doctor's report to support. that. So, but the idea is offer flexible work arrangements. I don't think maybe there are just one or two or three jobs right now that you can work from home, especially for those that work in factories. But even with that, I feel a timetable can be planned and implemented, and that way everybody works flexibly. So I'll just kick the ball back to Deborah, so she gives the closing part of this presentation.
Okay,
Deborah,
thank
the
you.
floor.
Thank you very much, Kunle. There's a question in the chat box. I don't know if you would like to respond. It says from Loretta, it says, is salary motivation for employees, or there are cadre of employees, sorry, that salary is a motivation for them?
So just thank you, Loretta, for that question. And I can tell you for a fact that there is no level an employee gets to, a salary is not a motivation for them. This is why I say so. Now, if, for instance, now you have a country manager that is earning, let's say, 5 million in your company. He has a friend that is a country manager in another company in the same industry, and that one is earning 6 million. 6 million, that's like a 1 million naira difference already. That's too much. 6,100,000. The 100,000 in that's your country manager's mind is already a difference, and it's like, we are both country managers in the same industry. What is so special about what you're doing and what I'm not doing? And trust me, no matter the level, money is a motivating factor for anyone. It's a motivating factor. There is no level you want to get to. If it were not to be so, Dangote will have retired a long time ago. Otedola will have retired a long time ago. They'll have just gone to go and be chilling somewhere and just be sipping wine and carrying side chicks, flexing. So it's a motivation. But it's just that for some level, it's more glaring that this is what they want. For some levels, especially for people that are just starting out their careers. For them, at that point, it is more of, I want this. They are not looking at the fact that, okay, I'm bringing this value. So what I'm earning should be on the same level, which is what someone in the senior cadre is going to be looking at when he wants to discuss with you about salary. He already knows that, oh, this is what I'm bringing to the table. But sometimes I just start, he's not looking at that part. His one is, this is what I want. This is what my mates are getting. So everybody just shows it at varying degrees. I don't know if I've answered that question to your satisfaction, Loretta.
Yes.
And if you have any other thing to add there, B?
Yes, I wanted to add that at some point in my career, I was speaking to some friends, colleagues, and they said, Debbie, you can take me as a cleaner. Just call me cleaner. Just pay me well. So at that point, I knew that for this ones, even if you call the manager, what they want is the money. They don't want that title manager. So again, at some point in your career, what I want to say is that I want to support what Kule just said. So there's no point in your career where money will not motivate you. So if the company is saying, I want to add salaries to your money, you say, no. As I'm a manager right now, I don't need money, It would motivate me. The more you add money to my salary, the more I would, be energetic to work more. It's normal. So, but at some point again in my career, I want money, but I want something else. So it might be that I want promotion. It might be that I want the title, and all those kind of side perks again. So apart from the salary increase. So my colleague already clearly has answered so well. And there is another thing that we have on the chat box here. It says, explain the use of kindly and please in email. Vice versa position or hierarchy. That's for Kule, because Kule, you mentioned that.
Yeah, so I mentioned that actually. So see, there's one thing I always tell my friends, that there is English and there's the use of English. As many of us, we failed jam, let's be factual. We failed the use of English woefully because what? Yes, please and kindly, they are synonyms. They mean almost the same thing, but by the time you put them in a sentence, they change the tone of that sentence. Like for instance, now, please leave room for flexibility. Is more of a plea, is more of, please assist me whenever you can. But At the point where you say kindly, and that is like looking for a polite way of saying, guy, you don't have an option. You have to do this thing
More of
as that's
instruction.
when I want it done. It's that way. So I quickly went on. Sorry?
I said
So
more
I
of
quickly
instruction.
more of an instruction. So yeah, correct. More of an instruction. So I quickly went on Google just to check it. And one of the definitions says both also, the difference between kindly and please, both also have the same level of politeness that etiquette.
Seems the network took off my colleague. The network, okay. So before he gets back, okay, let me continue before he gets back, and I'll give him the floor to finish the explanation of please and kindly. Or does anyone has anything to say about it? So I just think I should continue anyways. Okay, so still on the issue of next year, 2023, that's where we are still, what we are talking about, and that's why we are together today. It is not the big that eats the smalls, it's the fast that is the slow. So yeah, we are looking at how well we can, how fast we can do things, how well and fast at the same time. There was at a point where I spoke about IDA HR, which is on YouTube. You can also request for the link on the chat box. And I spoke about the fact that being agile is not about your ability to just maybe change or do things in a better way, but how fast can you adapt to this change and how fast can you do things better? Okay. So the slide has it here that conventional wisdom once told us big companies are unbeatable and eat smaller competitors for breakfast. And not anymore. That is not anymore now. These days, it's not the big that eats the small, it's the fast that eats the slow. So it's not about being big anymore. Because again, some people will tell you it's not about name, it's not about PLC. I had someone who left a PLC for not one-man business, but he said, I'm done with PLC. I need money. Maybe my mates are doing Jackpot. Let me gather the money and Jackpot as well. Leave the big company, leave the PLC, this PLC. Let me go to limited. Just let me be there. And I would just, I need the money. PLC is paying me 200,000 and limited wants to pay me 500,000. Let me just, so it's not anymore about the big names. It's not anymore. So in 2023, don't rely on your big names because it's no longer going to help. Things are changing. Things are evolving. So do not rely as HR on the big name. Of course, people want to come to our company as a PLC. People are looking forward to work with us. People, if your culture, if the things you do not align with what the present system, if your policies do not accommodate, people would leave. You'll be shocked. You'll be surprised at the speed at which people would leave. And you would begin to see that, but we have a big company now. I thought not about the big. That is what this slide is all about, is talking about. I don't know if Kunle is back, but Kunle, please, if you are here, you can. Hello. Okay, so please mute yourself. Comfort. Okay, I've muted you. You have muted that. So this is the conclusion of what we have today, that we should not think next year that attrition will reduce. Just to emphasize, my colleague was talking about something on commending people. So I have this word in my mind most times, commendation before condemnation. So do well to commend your people. So whenever they do things, I was speaking yesterday at a career fair, And I spoke about work-life balance and its effects on employees and their career management. And I said something. I said, if you know, okay, I said HR needs to have the need. We need to train our line managers to be able to identify when our people are stressed. Because again, some people might be overworking. You're not looking at it. You're not paying attention to it. It's an issue. It's an issue when people are overworking. And as HR people, again, as HR professionals, we need to know when our subordinates are really worked hard. Last week, I was overwhelmed, and my line manager said, Debbie, you looked overwhelmed. Can you just close by 3, go home, relax? Because she saw that I really worked. She saw the input, she saw the things done, and she saw the outcomes of the things that I've done. Again, can you give your, like my colleague already said, can you give your people, your subordinates, or your employees, can you give them a day off? Can you say, oh, you did so well, maybe we worked around the clock, maybe we worked for 24 hours or more than 8 hours, maybe we stayed till 10 p.m. Can you just stay and can you be human? Next year is going to be big. Don't expect, like I said, attrition to reduce. It is increasing. So what can you do to help your people? Work-life balance is also part of the reason why people would not run away quickly. Work-life balance, let it be part of your policy. Side gigs, add it to your policy. Give people room to have more money outside their salaries. Salaries will not be enough. Bolajoko mentioned, at the 6th of the month, people are already saying I'm broke. It's not peculiar to serve some set of people, and part of them as well. At the 6th of the month, I'm broke. Yes, because as your money increases, as your salary increases, tell yourself the truth, your need increases. That is the law, that is it. So there is no two way about it. Kunle, are you here, please? If you are here, can you finish your thoughts on them? Because I've exhausted the slides, and I don't know if you want to finish your thoughts on the please and kindly.
Kunle is not
okay.
Here.
Oh, not here. Oh, okay. I've just admitted him. I've just admitted him.
Debbie, please wrap up or kindly.
Oh, okay. 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 So I've wrapped up already. So I wanted Kunle to finish the please and kindly. I just admitted him. I don't know if he's here. And I see someone raising his hands. I don't know. Avushwa Hill for iPhone. I don't know if you have something to say. Can you please say something?
Okay, thank you, Ma. Good evening. I just want to make a comment about the thoughts Kunle raised. It is that the organization is no longer like trying to develop people. So it's just like eatery where they go to, they don't like doing like mommy puts, go to mommy puts to buy food, but they just want fast eatery just to pick those that are developed. So as a result of that, there's no succession planning, there's no encouragement to employee to develop, blah, 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 like that. So at a point, people started developing themselves on their own. And I noticed that even if you develop yourself recently, if you are not their caucus or a kind of association within that they want to, you will not be promoted. If you are not like the kind of person they have interest in, you will not go to the next cadre. And I started imagining that what could have been the cause if somebody had gone so far to improve. Okay, you said the person have not been improving and you need somebody that have the skill, and the person have tried to, just as Kunle have said, that if somebody is trying to work with someone to learn on the job and is learning, then why can't you give the person the chance? So I started questioning myself that if the continue to grow like this, I'm telling you, so many people will leave the company. It's not about Jackpot alone. People will just be leaving. And the rate of turnover is high because of this. That's my own contribution.
Thank you very much for your thoughts. So, Kunle, are you here? If you are here, quickly, so that I'll wrap up the session.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay. So, finish up the please and kindly. That's where you were.
Okay. Oh, okay, sorry. So sorry everyone. I got disconnected there for a bit. So I was saying now that the please is more of a request, while the kindly is more of an instruction. And then where I really get where my stomach turns the most is when I see a junior staff sending kindly assist with this to a senior colleague, and I'm like, no, you don't do that. You don't do that. I know a lot of us are not knowledgeable in these aspects. Even I stumbled on it. I think it was a conference I went for, I think in 2006. That's when I stumbled on it. When the person was like, you don't address senior colleague with kindly, you use please. And then if you're sending to your subordinates, you can use either one of them. So I was reading one definition that says both have the same level of politeness and etiquette. The only difference lies in the possibility of its position in the sentence, where please is more flexible than kindly. There was one other. I'm sorry. So I couldn't find the other. There was another definition that I was actually looking for, but I didn't see that one. Maybe if I see it, I'll try and drop it in the groups. So you don't use please for your kindly rather for your senior colleague. You rather you should use please. Is more polite in that way. We don't currently everybody we just use anyhow. Kindly, please. We just choose any one of it, and which is one of the essence of this seminar that we are having, where we get to learn what we don't know before. So I hope I've been able to answer that to the best, so that the person understands the question, the use rather.
Thank you very much, Kunle. So at this point, I would like to wrap up the session, so we have a close. So we have said a lot about next year. We have said about technology, the use of technology. We have talked about looking at the fact that it's not about how big your company is, about adjusting your policies, about looking at how ways to evolve your around your policies, to work around your policies. Don't keep your policy so long. Let it be in line with the current legal standards, so that you do not get yourself into trouble next year, 2023, and then also accommodate your people, have a good culture that would help people to stay. We understand the attrition rates, but again, people would still definitely leave, some would stay, but your attrition should not be so high. All these things have been said by my colleague Bolajoko and Kunle and myself. So with this, I say a big thank you for having taken our time to attend. We also would like to invite you to our hangout next week. Join us, and yes, this is it for me. Mr. PM.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. Let's continue to engage on the various platforms. If you have any question, any suggestions, any ideas, please feel free to reach out to me. We are open. Anything that can help us as a community in 2023, please reach out to me privately and we can take it offline. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.